I don't know what you can say about Sheryl Swoopes, but if there's anything that you could say, what would you want to say?
I called her when Caitlin was still playing at Iowa and she had just broken Maravich's record. And I said, you know, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And so our relationship it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four.
Right.
She didn't want to talk to me.
Sheryl Swoopes just did something that's got everyone talking. The WNBA legend publicly apologized to Caitlin Clark. You won't believe what happened next. American stars are lining up to support Clark, and it's changing the game. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when we thought this was just about Caitlin Clark? Well, guess what? It's way bigger than that. As the basketball world erupted over Swoopes' comments, an unexpected casualty emerged from the chaos. Who knew a single phone call could end a decades-long friendship and change the landscape of women's basketball? Nancy Lieberman, a legend in her own right, dropped a bombshell on the Stephen A. Smith Show. She revealed that her friendship with Swoopes was on the rocks, all because of a phone call about Clark. Lieberman said, "Our relationship pretty much is not happening at this point." Can you believe it? Two basketball icons, their bond shattered over this controversy. But it gets even crazier. Lieberman tried to patch things up at the Final Four, but Swoopes wasn't having it. "I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. She didn't want to talk to me," Lieberman shared. That's how deep this rift goes. Meanwhile, Swoopes' reputation is taking a serious hit. Fans are turning on her, calling her a Caitlin Clark hater. It's like watching a legend's legacy crumble in real time. And you know what's wild? Some fans are still defending Swoopes, saying she's earned the right to her opinion. But others, they're not holding back, saying she's way out of line. The drama's spilling onto social media too. Swoopes isn't backing down, and it's only making things worse. Every tweet, every comment, it's like she's adding fuel to the fire, and the basketball world can't stop talking about it. Lieberman tried to be the voice of reason in all this chaos. She said, "If you did get ahead of this and said, 'Hey, I made a mistake on my numbers,' then this thing is over, and everybody respects you for your opinion." But Swoopes isn't budging. You should have seen the Iowa fans at the next game. They showed up wearing "Don't Be a Sheryl" shirts. Talk about savage. It's like the whole basketball community is choosing sides. You've got legends, current players, fans. Everyone's got an opinion on this. But here's where it gets really interesting.
There was this quote by Sheryl that said, you know, Caitlin was, 25 years old. She was taking 40 shots a game. Her records were illegitimate. And I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, "Hey, I made a mistake on my numbers," then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion.
Just when everyone thought this feud was going to keep spiraling out of control, something unexpected happened. Something that's about to change everything. Hold up, did Sheryl Swoopes just hit the reset button on this whole controversy? The way she reached out to Caitlin Clark has fans and players alike wondering, is this the start of a new chapter in women's basketball history? You're not gonna believe this, but Sheryl Swoopes just did a complete 180. After all the drama, all the backlash, Swoopes decided to do something that caught everyone off guard. She reached out to Caitlin Clark directly. That's right, Swoopes sent Clark a personal text message to apologize for her earlier comments. In her text, Swoopes owned up to her mistake, saying, "I wanted to personally reach out to you and say I made a mistake on what a year this is for you. COVID has me all confused. LOL." Can you imagine getting that text from a basketball legend? But Swoopes didn't stop there. She went on to praise Clark, saying, "I also have nothing but respect for you and your game and appreciate your skill. Congrats on everything you have accomplished thus far. Be blessed." Now, you might be thinking, how did Clark react to this? Well, get ready for this, because Clark's response was nothing short of classy. She replied, "No worries at all. I really appreciate you reaching out, and there's no hard feelings. I appreciate all you have done for women's basketball and for inspiring girls like me and building the foundation and platform we have today."
Well, she got upset with me on the phone, and I was like, "Sheryl, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing. We're talking." But we had this conversation which we apparently cannot have with me and Sheryl Swoopes. And I still think she was incorrect about what she did. I will do anything for women's basketball. I'm just a servant leader here. At one point in my career, I wanted to be the greatest of all time. And now I just want to be a great, person that supports this generation. I think she created this firestorm. She could put it out. And, it's like I always tell people at this stage, your ego's not your amigo.
Talk about taking the high road. Clark's response showed incredible maturity and sportsmanship. It's like she just slam dunked on all the drama and came out looking like a true champion. But here's where things get really interesting. This apology didn't just stay between Swoopes and Clark. It exploded across the basketball world. Fans, players, and analysts couldn't stop talking about it. People who were ready to write off Swoopes were suddenly praising her for owning up to her mistake. And Clark? Her stock just shot through the roof. The way she handled this whole situation has everyone talking about her leadership skills off the court. It's like she's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers. This apology is doing more than just squashing beef. It's reshaping how people see both Swoopes and Clark. Swoopes went from being labeled a hater to someone who can admit when she's wrong. And Clark, she's not just a scoring machine anymore. She's being seen as a unifying force in women's basketball. You know what's wild? This whole controversy might have actually brought the women's basketball community closer together. It's like everyone's realizing there's room for both the legends and the rising stars. People are talking about collaboration and mutual respect instead of competition and criticism. Swoopes even went on air to clear things up, saying, "I made a mistake in saying it was your 5th year when it is your 4th. It's not often you see a legend publicly admit they were wrong like that, but that's exactly what's making this moment so powerful. The Swoopes-Clark drama was just the beginning. Now, a star-studded lineup of basketball legends is throwing their weight behind Clark. But what's driving this unprecedented show of support? You thought Caitlin Clark winning over Sheryl Swoopes was impressive? That's nothing compared to the wave of support she's riding now. It's like the entire basketball world has decided to join Team Clark, and you won't believe who's leading the charge. Let's talk about the big names backing Clark. We're not just talking about her teammates or even just WNBA players. We're talking about some of the biggest stars in American sports. It's like Clark's got her own all-star team cheering her on from the sidelines. Remember Angel Reese? The LSU star who had her own moment in the spotlight during March Madness? Well, she's put any rivalry aside and is standing firmly in Clark's corner. That's huge. It's like watching two of the brightest young stars in women's basketball joining forces. But it's not just the younger generation. Some of the most respected voices in basketball are speaking up for Clark. They're not just praising her skills on the court. They're talking about her character, her sportsmanship, and the way she's handling all this attention. You know what's really wild? It's not just basketball players. We're seeing support from across the sports world. Football players, baseball stars, even celebrities who've never picked up a basketball in their lives are all jumping on the Clark bandwagon. It's like she's become this symbol of excellence that everyone wants to get behind. And let's talk about what this means for Clark's future in the WNBA. With all these big names backing her, she's not just entering the league as a rookie, she's walking in with the kind of support and respect that some players spend their whole careers trying to earn. It's like she's already a superstar before she's even played her first professional game. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about Clark anymore. It's like she's become the face of a whole new era in women's basketball. People are talking about how she could change the game, bring in new fans, maybe even shake up the way the WNBA does business. You want to know how big this is getting? There's talk about Clark potentially being a transformative figure for the entire league. We're not just talking about her breaking scoring records or winning championships. We're talking about her changing the way people see women's basketball as a whole. And it's not just empty talk. The support she's getting is translating into real excitement. TV ratings for her games are through the roof. Social media is buzzing every time she steps on the court. It's like people can't get enough of Caitlin Clark. But here's the thing, Clark isn't letting all this attention go to her head. She's staying focused, staying humble, and letting her game do the talking. And that's exactly why all these stars are rallying behind her. They see someone who's not just talented, but who's got the character to match. Wow, the Swoopes Clark saga has put women's basketball in the spotlight like never before. This whole thing started with some controversial comments, but it's turned into something much bigger. It's got everyone talking about the WNBA and women's basketball in general. You know what's really exciting? This could be a game changer for the WNBA's popularity. More people are watching, more fans are getting invested, and it's not just about the drama. They're seeing the incredible talent these women bring to the court. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just about Swoopes and Clark anymore. It's reshaping how players interact, how legends support rising stars, and how the whole basketball community comes together. We might be looking at a whole new era of women's basketball, where the past and future of the game join forces to take it to new heights. How crazy is that?